It is March 10th, and we are now in South Memphis, Tennessee, on the way home. And we're stopping here at Forest Hill Cemetery, Midtown, which is actually where Elvis Presley was first interred before, I believe, he was moved. I know he's at Graceland, he's not here, but I believe there is a memorial, his original grave. But we're here to see a famous woman, Memphis Belle, otherwise known, real name, Margaret Polk. And we are in a couple of statues here by a grand mausoleum. Looks very old. This is William Robert Moore, who was a pretty famous Tennessee U.S. representative. And he's here with his wife, Charlotte Bloodmore. Now, what I find interesting is that Mr. Moore's lineage was aristocratic, of course, but that lineage traced all the way back to Sir Oliver Cromwell in England. Now, this is going way back, guys. This is going back to the 1600s. Cromwell fought against Charles I. It was like our Civil War. And he led the parliamentary armies in that campaign. This was erected in 1900. And his epitaph is he did the best he could. The resting place of William Robert Moore and his beloved wife, Charlotte Bloodmore. Okay, let's take a look over here. This really caught my eye. This big, huge mausoleum. It looks so dark, and it almost, it just gives you the feeling like no one's been here. No one comes to visit. I'm sure in its day it was glorious. Look at the detailing on the roof, the edge, coping. Let's see what, oh boy, I see the doors open. Look at that, wide open. You know what that means? It means we're going in. Ah, look at this. Isn't it beautiful? Massive doors. This is a chapel. That's what this is. All marble. And pews falling apart. Let's continue, see what we find. I haven't been in here, guys. This is all a mystery. Don't know what we're gonna find. We're gonna find a lot of crips is what we're gonna find. Look at this. Let's take a quick tour. Let's see how old. Look at that. Okay, someone's been here. What do we have here? Veteran? We have a lot of writing. It says, please do not write on the walls. Pay your respect to Elvis and sign the back of Graceland. Here I was saying that we're not going to visit Elvis. Elvis is at Graceland. He's not here. I'm not sure what the deal is. This might just be to his service. But yeah, it's just like Marilyn Monroe and Marie Laveau. People just have to have their name on here. I'm not going to show their names. Makes me angry. Everybody's got to feel like they want to be special. Look at this. Happy Mother's Day. The little guy. That's cute. I cannot read the dates. I don't want to move the flowers around. Troy Leo Gatlin, husband and wife, here. Look at this. What the heck? Old. What's going on? There's an open crip there. I don't think they're using this anymore. There we go. That looks very, very old. Very old indeed. I wonder what that is on the wall there. Here's a private area. Okay. Let's continue on our journey. I see an American flag here, and that usually means it's a soldier, and yes, I can see, but this is not World War II. This is recent. Well, recent to the extent of wars. It says here a beautiful epitaph for this young man who died in 12. Desmond Dwayne Thomas, February 7th, 1992. September 29, 2012. He did make his 20th birthday. A coward dies 1,000 deaths. A soldier dies but one. Or you could say dies but once. Thank you for your service, Desmond. Look at that. Let's go check it out. Check out this mausoleum, gang. It's really something going on here. The top of the hill, climb the hill. Let's see, how are we gonna, let's go this way, right between these guys. Right. Look at that. Look at that roof. It's all slate. And there's some really neat details at the top. This is massive. This is almost like a small chapel. Let's check it out. Oh, there's lots of crypts in there, bricked up. We'll go in. No name. It's massive. It's too bad. It's really in disrepair. It kind of looks like it would be a perfect setting for a horror movie, guys. Look at that. Right? The broken glass inside. Well, let's be careful. It is in obvious disrepair, and what I see here is a barricade has been knocked in. It's too bad people can't respect the cemeteries. I'm not going to go in because they did not intend for people to go in. Look at this though. So looking inside around the corner here, it is obviously no one is here. This is completely abandoned, so I think it's okay to go inside. There's nobody to really disrespect. This may be one of those, may have been one of those temporary crypts, mausoleums, where they were preparing for the burials. What's interesting is there's these underground vaults. I wonder what was going on down there. Possibly burials, permanent burials under the floor. Well, I sure didn't expect this. There's another one here. I don't know, I can't see, I'm just holding my extension arm down here. Too small for caskets, and of course the period we're talking about, this would be coffins. I don't see any vault covers. Some interesting detailing up at the plaster lathe metal. You can see how it was constructed. It's a beautiful building. It once was. This is the old part of the cemetery, and this place is massive. Margaret Polk was born December 15th, 1922. And as a 19-year-old college student, she was the daughter of a wealthy lawyer. He was a gentleman farmer here, and he claimed to be a descendant of America's 11th president, President James Knox Polk of Nashville, and he probably was. It was in the springtime that Margaret went to her sister's house for a visit. She lived in Walla Walla, Washington, and that is where she met a second lieutenant named Robert K. Morgan. He was there in flight training. Now, he had been married once before, but when they met, they had this whirlwind romance. And they had planned on getting married. It was on September 12th that a B-17 landed at Memphis for the first time, a certain B-17F Foxtrot. It was Bob Morgan who flew that plane in, and he wanted to show Margaret his airplane. So he got special permission, and that night they went to a dance. It was at the Peabody Hotel in Memphis. And from the memoirs, from the mementos that Margaret saved, she saved the ticket stub. It was number 782. And on the back it said us, September 12th, 1942. And that is when Bob proposed to her. But she was not easily swayed. Now, he sent her all kinds of mushy letters. And you know how us guys get when we're in love. It gets pretty ugly. I'm not going to read the letter. So he was finally assigned his own Flying Fortress in 42 later. And of course, what do you think he wanted to name it? No, not Memphis Belle. He wanted to name it Little One, because, and I didn't read the letter, but that's what he called Margaret. But his co-pilot, Jim Varenus, stepped in and said, Bob, wake up. We're not calling the plane Little One. Let's think of something else. So it was Jim who had the idea after they saw a movie called Lady for a Night, in which the leading character owns a riverboat. And it was them together, that decided to propose to the crew this name of Memphis Belle, and the rest is history. They liked it. Who wouldn't like it? So what was Memphis Belle going to look like? How are we going to get this artwork? So Morgan contacted a guy named George Petty at the offices of Esquire magazine. He must have known him. And he asked for a pinup drawing, just any pinup drawing. And he got one called The Petty Girl. And they used that artwork. One of the guys on the base, who was an artist, He was a group artist from the 91st, and his name was Tony Starcer. So he copied Petty Girl, and on one side of the plane they had one color, and on the other, I think it was blue on the port side and red on the starboard side. Correct me if I'm wrong, just going by memory. And that's the famous Memphis Belle. Now, Memphis Belle, as many of you know, World War II, Greatest Generation, they were the first plane to make 25 missions, and that was on May 17th, 1943. These missions were over France, Belgium, Holland, and Germany, of course, and they went down in history at that point. Now look at this. What a beautiful bust for Mr. Knight. This is the Knight family plot, obviously. I'm not going to walk off the road here because we have graves, coffins below, right up to the asphalt. Now, again, I mentioned this before. I try not to step on graves, and you can't always do it. So my attitude is, it's all in the intent and respect. But why do I do that? I do that because, just like I pick up American flags when I see them, I don't always see them because my eyeballs are focused on talking and shooting. Here we have a U.S. Marine. We will plant this for him. I'm probably sure this is where it came from. No, it's not going to work. I don't have my staple gun. You guys are a riot. All the stuff I need to bring, and flashlights and clippers, and I'd have a wagon for all the stuff I need to bring. Anyway, I think we can get close because, to finish my story, we have a couple of people here commented that graveskeepers, old cemeteries, wet, and they were walking on graves, and wham, their foot went into the ground all the way down to their waist, 1 foot in the coffin. I do not want to do that. So that's another reason. Sure, it hardly happens, but look at this. That is amazing. It's all marble. It's held up well. The weather here in Memphis, although we're not in New Orleans, is not as bad as the north where I'm from. And this is protected in this cavity. I wonder what his history is. Well, if I can find it, if there's something, I'm sure there is, I will put it in a little narrative here for you guys. Now, what really made them famous is when Robert came home to stateside after the war, after the European theater fight, he swept Margaret in his arms. I think it was at the airport, and a photographer was there, Johnny on the spot, and got this picture that just made them immortal, or made them more immortal, the Memphis Belle team. Using their fame, they toured the country together for the Army for bonds. The famous couple, the Memphis Belle couple. And they went city by city. But sadly, their relationship, which was mostly long distance, kind of withered away. They never did get married. By August, the relationship was kind of over, but they remained good friends their whole life. Bob was eventually deployed to the Pacific Theater after things died down a little. Of course, the war was still raging with Japan in the Pacific, and Margaret went on to be a flight attendant. And when she turned 28, she did eventually get married. But that only lasted for a few years. Now, she continued to champion Memphis Belle her whole life. She followed the airplane, and like many planes in those days, the 50s, nobody cared. I mean, can you imagine if you knew the future and invested for $5,000 or less? I know a guy who got a P-51 Mustang for like $500. Those are worth over $2 million now, depending on restoration condition. But she followed that plane all over the place, and she headed a program called Save the Belle, raising funds. Now, her father, when he died, he left a big inheritance for her. So she was pretty well off, and of course she was very charitable. Here is a World War II vet who I think may have died in service, because I see the date 1945, for First Lieutenant Russell E. Reeves Jr. This is the Reeves family plot. You know what's so cool? I'm just walking and I'm just finding this stuff, and this is what's fun. You all of you like me, this is what brings us out. I'll look, see if I can find any information on First Lieutenant. Greatest generation, sir, thank you for your service. They eventually got the plane transported to the National Museum of the United States Air Force in Dayton, Ohio. It was, I don't know, it was on its way kind of to the junkyard in storage. And they got it refurbished, and I think we can see it today. And there's some amazing famous statues, like what I saw in New Orleans, the World War II Museum. Holy cow, if you get there, you got to see that. There's a memorial here. We're not going to go there, in Overton Park for Memphis Belle. And in Margaret's honor, they made this really cool bronze statue. I'll put a picture here of that from her knees up. Her head's tilted to the sky, her right hand shading her eyes from the sun, just like she's looking for the plane, as if she's watching the bomber, her namesake, to return. Here is the Polk family plot. I did come over here to make sure I could find her, and there are 12 family members here, and we'll go down the line to pay our respects. What I'm going to do is walk behind the tombstones and shoot them upside down so you can see all the names. At least we'll try to do that. Okay. We've got Ada Polk Pritchard, died in '74, born in 1883. We have Pearl Polk Chapleau, 1887-1967. We have Elizabeth here, and I believe that is her sister, 1889, no, couldn't be. 1889, 1933, that's a generation. Ada, 1852, 1921. So these are parents, grandparents. These are the initial internments. OB, passed in 1920. And then we have Oscar Polk Chapleau Sr. And I remember Margaret is over here. Look at this tree, holy cow. All right, we will do the same thing. I'm going to actually start over here because I'm right-handed. This is Virginia. Okay, we've got Virginia Polk, 1923 to 1924. Here's Elizabeth. I'm pretty sure this is her sister. Elizabeth Polk McCarthy, 1917 to 1951. Those dates. Oscar Boyle, 1881, 1946. Mary Robb Polk, big family, 1887, 1962. Here she is, the one and only Margaret Polk, 1922 to 1990. 1935, 2009, looks to be the youngest. Well, Margaret, we also thank you for your service. Although it wasn't in combat, it was just as important. Margaret lived to 1990. She died of cancer, sadly. You could call Margaret a philanthropist, a benefactor. I don't know if she gave to many. I know she was a benefactor to the Memphis Belle program. I think she was more of a philanthropist. Beautiful woman. Helped so many ways. We salute you, and we salute all the men and women who have passed in the armed forces in our great country and our great history, and also those of serving today. So we hope Margaret is here resting in peace with her family.